one day I would probably have anywhere between 5 to 6 coffees.
You said 25.
Not 25. Welcome back, guys, to episode 7 of my video log. And today's episode I'm going to take you all through one of my upper body sessions as part of my contest prep and off season. I'll be discussing some important topics related to my preparation to the stage in October 2018, such as the mechanisms of muscle hypertrophy, old school bodybuilding methods and techniques, and why they aren't great for natural bodybuilders and athletes, as well as talking about how I manage expectations and motivation in my training to ensure that I get the results that I want to be getting to compete in the coming year. So in this episode there's going to be some discussion surrounding my training, and you'll see clips of my workout along with some commentary about my general thoughts of my session and training in general. So I hope you guys are enjoying these video logs, and if you are, please be sure to give me some feedback, as well as liking the videos so that I know what to do moving forward. So guys, I hope you enjoy this video. Let's get into it. Is it on? Yes. Has that been recording the whole time? Oh. What is my focus and the purpose of the barbell bench press in my program? And the first thing we need to look at when we're talking about selecting any movement to be a part of our program is what specific stimulus are we trying to achieve with that movement. So the bench press is obviously a compound exercise and we can use quite heavy loads with, and this is extremely important for muscle growth. It's a great exercise that lends itself well to achieving mechanical tension as the stimulus. And this has been found in the literature by Brad Schoendfeld and other researchers to be one of the primary drivers of muscle hypertrophy. So instead of using isolation movements for high reps that aren't able to be loaded as well as the barbell bench press, in doing that, you really limit your ability to build muscles. So the barbell bench press, you'll notice that a lot of my workouts comprise of big compound movements because they do allow to achieve great mechanical tension, which is one of the important factors of muscle hypertrophy. The second important factor is metabolic stress. So this is where you can use isolation exercises to help increase that metabolic fatigue, so lactic acid, hydrogen ions, and metabolite buildup in the 8 to 15, even 20 rep range. And exercises such as cable flies, face pulls and things like that are going to be a much better bet for achieving that type of stimulus. And the third stimulus for muscle growth, or the factor of hypertrophy, is muscle damage. So muscle damage is simply the trauma of training on the muscle, and training through a stretch position and eccentric loads can cause this. So it's important for every hypertrophy program to incorporate these three factors to maximize muscle growth. And you'll notice in a lot of my training that this is the case, and Ian has programmed specifically due to this. And with the goal of getting on stage in 2018, I need to use this next 12 months to build some muscle. I need to really focus on developing my deltoids, my upper back and my arms. They're my focus points, as well as my hamstrings. So my program is specifically focusing on, prioritizing those muscle groups. And you'll see that as we go through the workout. But quick discussion on the off season and what I need to do to get bigger. It's all well and good to have a program and have the program set in place, and incorporate those factors of hypertrophy. But the most important thing in your training program is progressive overload. Okay, so obviously my goal is specifically to get bigger. So the progression that I need has to be an increase in volume, because researchers show that volume is most closely correlated to hypertrophy. Whereas for strength training, to improve strength, intensity load has been shown to be the closest determinant of strength improvements. So it's always important to understand what you're trying to achieve in the gym, and how to then program accordingly, and ensuring that you do have progressions in place. So my goal over the next 12 months is to increase my training volume whilst eating a shit ton of food, a lot of protein, whilst making sure that I do recover and can perform where I need to be. Alvin, aka Ling Ling, just training behind us now. He just asked me what my thoughts were on the old school bodybuilding methods that Arnie and Frank Zane, Franco Colombo, Tom Platz, all those guys used to use. And whilst they're really interesting to obviously look at and watch, it's very important to remember that these guys were taking a considerable amount of performance enhancing drugs, and when we take these anabolic steroids, our recovery and work capacity increases significantly. So we can blast muscles continuously and recover. And not to mention, muscle protein synthesis when you take anabolic steroids is elevated constantly, not just after the training bout for that 24 to 48 hour window. So whilst those training methods are interesting, a lot of them trained in very different ways, it's important to remember that those guys were going to grow whether they just brushed their teeth or had a killer session anyway. So in terms of how I plan to grow, obviously I'm a natural bodybuilder, so I don't have the benefits of those performance enhancing drugs. I really need to manage my recovery and ensure that I'm not too fatigued, because if I'm fatigued, my performance will suffer and my ability to accumulate volume obviously is going to be impacted. So very small and modest progressions for me over time whilst consuming a good amount of food is how I plan to put on muscle. I can't come into the gym and just blast away and hit failure and do supersets, drop sets and all these really advanced overloading methods. I need to be intelligent and ensure that I'm making small, measurable progressions so that I can determine the magnitude, how much progress I'm making from week to week. If I just rock up to the gym and just blast away on any given day, or skip workouts and things like that, it's very hard to measure. And if you're serious about getting results, you need to measure things, because what gets measured gets managed. So I think that's enough of a ramble. It's time to bench. What do you reckon, Ray Ray? Yeah, so in 12 months, a few questions I've been asked recently by people who have been following me on social media in terms of getting on stage. They've asked me how much muscle I'm expecting to gain in the next 12 months. And we need to remember that muscle hypertrophy is really dependent and scaled by training age. And what I mean by that is, beginners can build a lot of muscle, anywhere between 8 to 10 kilos of muscle in a single year. And obviously on the other end of the scale, we have advanced athletes who will be lucky to gain 1 kilo in 12 months. And I don't think I've reached my genetic potential just yet. I'm definitely getting closer and closer to the upper ends of being an advanced trainee. But I think I've got hopefully between 2 to 3 kilos of lean muscle to gain in the next 12 months. It doesn't sound like a lot, but if you pick up 2 to 3 kilos of chicken breast and you put that on your delts, you put that on your upper back and your chest, it's quite a bit, and it does make a significant change in terms of how you look on stage. So that's the rate of progression I'll be aiming to make. And if we break that down over the course of a year, 1 kilo every 4 months isn't a lot of muscle, and it's not going to be a big increase on the scale either. So it's going to be hard to measure, but all I can do is ensure that I'm controlling the controllables, and the key variables that we're looking to progress are indeed progressing.
and that'll be my training volume and my scale weight, as well as how I look in the mirror. So they're the measures that we'll be using to see whether or not I'm making progress, some objective and some subjective. But I hope that gives you an insight as to how much muscle I can expect to gain, and then how I go about measuring and tracking that. DEXA scans do have a time and place. However, I feel there's far too many confounding factors that can influence the outcomes of those. So I'll save my money and just keep it simple, stupid. Something else I thought would be worth talking about before I get into my next set, which was actually on my Instagram story yesterday, but it's probably gone because it was 24 hours ago, is how I don't chase a certain feeling in the gym anymore. I'm feeling pretty rubbish today, to be honest, and I'm used to training in this state now. I don't only train when I feel great, because in life there's going to be many ups and downs, especially in terms of our motivation. And what has allowed me to get great result and progress consistently over the last 5 to 8 years in my training career has been the fact that I just train consistently. I get the job done. I don't aim to feel amazing and chase beast mode every single session, but instead I just try to get in the gym and get the job done to the best of my abilities based on how I'm feeling on that day. So I think it's important for us to understand that we're not going to feel great every day. We need to just go to the gym and just start. Don't think too much about how you're feeling, unless obviously it's you're extremely sick or injured. That'll be the only caveat to that statement. But ignore your motivation. It needs to become a habit, and you need to rely less on extrinsic factors to be able to train and get the job done in the gym. So, like I said, feeling pretty rubbish today, but it's just a matter of getting the job done, doing my best. I know that I'll feel better in a few days, a few weeks' time, if I do the right things. So, just gotta push through. Well, guys, that is the end of my upper body session. I'm gonna put in the description box below the workout itself. Again, please remember, this is my workout, specific to me. And if you're watching this, I hope you're taking the underlying concepts and discussion as thought-provoking and something that you can apply to your own training, your own goals, your own context and circumstances. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks heaps for listening. Been getting a lot of really good feedback about the video logs so far in terms of the content. I'm going to continue to improve the video production thanks to my man Alvin, and if you liked it, give it a big thumbs up. If you didn't like it, give it a thumbs down so I know what to do next time, and comment below with any thoughts or feedback that you do have, and subscribe to the channel. Guys, thanks for listening. Adios.